Hey, this is Frugus Raid here. Today I'm going to show off something I've been putting together. I recently pulled an overpowered turtle named Krisk, and I've just made a few tweaks to my current comp and I've thrown him in. This isn't really ready for like a guide. This is more going to be just a showcase of what he's capable of doing. I've still got some work to do to make this work on affinities, to make this work on void affinity, frankly. Um, so I'm probably gonna have to change team speeds, but I just made a few tweaks to my current, um, Altan, Brago, Marshald, Valk, and Rhazin team. This team peaked out in absolute best situation at about 130 million on Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. Um, I've uh, I've run this a couple times, and needless to say, I've surpassed it. I'm going to go ahead and run it again. I've made a couple tweaks, and I'm just going to show you guys what happens. We'll see what happens. So let's get into it. We'll start off with Valk just doing her A1. Marshald is just going to do something. Krisk will use his speed right away. The way I've got this set up right now, it's got pretty long delays. I will post the delays and everything I've run with this team in the description, but right now I don't consider this to be a legitimate team because it has issues with stun targeting on most affinities until I really redo the entire team speed. So in the interim, this happens to be forced. This is a great affinity for it because the issue really lies with Marshald, and he's not going to be targeted because he's strong affinity here. So I'm just going to run it, and we'll see how it works out. My expectations are super high for this. I've put Brago into Toxic, which I've not used on him before. I gave up a little bit of defense and a little bit of physical damage to do it, but now that I've got Krisk here, I don't think that that's going to be a problem. And my expectation is that coupled with the other damage will just make this a ridiculous key. I have expectations that this is going to surpass any key that I've previously done. And I got a couple keys yesterday that were really good. So my expectation is that this is going to be just a super solid key once I get into it. This, of course, it does. You're missing the defense aura on this by taking out Altan, and the only source of defense down is Brago, which means you have to turn Rhazin into the stun target. I've put Rhazin into Stalwart, and I have also put Brago into Toxic. That's my main changes. So I have Krisk in Stalwart, Rhazin in Stalwart, and Marshald in Stalwart, and then I've got Valkyrie in mixed gear at 268 at 7200 defense, and I've got Brago at 5750 defense in toxic gear. So again, my expectations are that this should last a very long time, and the damage output, which I lost quite a bit by dropping Altan, but I'm expecting the damage output should get back up to where it was now that I've kind of moved back into this setup using the toxic gear, which I think is going to improve Brago's damage quite a bit. Right now, Rhazin on my team still does more damage than Brago. We'll see if my expectation is Brago should now surpass him in his new and improved setup. So we're going to find out. We're still A1 with Krisk for another turn, I believe. Marshall, he'll use his stuff. Valk. Now we'll use Brago. Now Krisk will use his A3. Marshall A1. Let's do Valk can use her A2. Rhazin A1. Alright, now we're in turn count 5. We'll finally use that, and at this point this should be auto. We'll watch this, we'll make sure it syncs up. Now normally I don't have you guys watch the whole video here. This time I think I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to put a little background music on, and we'll just sit back and we'll watch this. Once it's done, I'll come back and just show the team setup, the gear and the speeds. But sit back, enjoy the show. right, there you go. This is just crazy. I can't say enough about this team. It's just it's amazing that adding Krisk pretty much added 30 million, 35 million to this team. It's unbelievable. Um, I This is my best key yet I've had. I don't doubt that if I ran this again, I might get a better key. I could see this both in terms of gearing and in terms of potential to survive longer. There's room for improvement all over the board when you look at this team. I'll take you in and just quickly show you the team setup that I'm using on this. We'll start with Krisk. I do have him in stalwart gear and one speed. Actually, I don't even have the speed set. I just have him in stalwart gear. I've tried to focus on stuff with high defense and high hit points. His overall stats, just under 65k. You know, not real great crit rate or crit damage. That's not what he's around for. He's just high defense and high health. His masteries, and these masteries are pretty consistent across the board. There's some variant of a defense, survival, counterattack setup. So you'll see that there's pretty much the same on all of these champions. You look at the Rhazin stats. He's at 36k hit points, 4,625 defense, slow. He's 243% critical damage and 99% crit rate, 235 accuracy. Maybe there's a little room to improve that too. I don't know. So both those two champions are in stalwart. Now if I move down to Brago, I've put Brago into toxic gear. If you go through Brago's gear, his total stats, just under 35k health points. I could raise that up too. I've left it a few things unglyphed in case he's actually shifted in a different comp to take the stun. His critical rate, 107%. Critical damage 217, debuff accuracy 243. Again, I think there's room to grow here. I have some really nice pieces I couldn't get him into because of speed, so there's definitely some room for improvement on him. You'll see his mastery is the same. Everybody's fully booked on this setup. We'll look at Valk, similar masteries. Valk is in all speed gear, really focused on what I can do to get the best defense rolls possible. I think there's some room maybe to put some better glyphs on this. That's the main area I think that I'd improve this. And then lastly, Mashald. And Mashald is also in stalwart. You can see his setup. I've used some pretty decent pieces on him to get his speed where it needs to be. He is at 80% crit rate, so he is not crit capped. His overall stats, just under 3k attack, 80% critical rate, 225 crit damage. His masteries are the same type of masteries. If I quickly take and show you the speed setup for this team, you will see that it is, you'll see right now I've got it set up with a 6-turn delay on Krisk, a 1-turn delay on the A2 of Brago, and a 2-turn delay on the A3. I've got a 2-turn delay on Valk and a 2-turn delay on Marshald's A2. What you will see is that this team syncs up in turn 6, and you'll see that Krisk is covering the first AoE and the stun. So the second AoE is the vulnerability, and you saw this team did break down on the second AoE. What happened this time was Valkyrie died on the second AoE. I've seen other instances where Marshall has died on the second AoE. I've also seen a couple times where, and I've only run this is the fourth time I've run it. I've had 2 breakdowns on this and then 2 breakdowns on AoE 1 where Krisk died from the ally attack. Just overall, it's an amazing comp. Right now, I don't think this is practical for people to run, but once I'm going to redo my speeds, and then I'll probably come out with a guide on how to do this. And hopefully the results will be pretty similar. The way I'm probably going to end up running it, it's going to leave some champions without defense up for the AoE 1, which could actually be a little messier. We'll have to see about it, but again, just amazing potential here. You can see that my gear was not perfect. It's good, but there's room to improve it. And to drop 64 million, 164 on the clan boss, just incredible. Hopefully this has been entertaining. If you have questions or comments, as always, just leave them in the description below, or you can reach out on the Heart Up Heroes Discord, which the link to will be in the description. Have a great night.